go.
All right.
So, tell us your name, where you're from, and how old you are.
All right. I'm David. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm 41.
41. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, what was your drug of choice at the time?
Let's see. I mean, heroin was my love, without a doubt. I was a IV user for 18 years, but that kind of goes with anything I could put in a needle. I did. Um, Starting off, really, I was a real big fan of LSD. Like I loved hallucinogenics. I loved to, I guess, just get away, But for the most part, I think opiates just kind of gripped me up.
Okay.
Of course, like I said, if I could put it in a syringe, I did. I really loved shooting cocaine. Like that was some pretty bad parts of my life too. But for the most part, definitely heroin. And probably like the last 2 years of my addiction was fentanyl. I think in Memphis, it's pretty much it's like a playground for heroin.
Yeah.
It's just everywhere of all colors, kinds. It's all over the place. But the past couple of years, fentanyl has taken a pretty big toll on pretty much every drug out there, pills and definitely heroin. I don't even know if you could probably find heroin anymore without fentanyl in it. But,
what was it like growing up? Did you come from a family with that kind of issue?
My uncle, he dabbled. He's passed away now. He was a heavy crack smoker. He recovered. He got clean, and he had a heart attack. But my father was an alcoholic. I know addiction was in my genes through my family. Mainly just alcohol, though. I don't think drugs was ever a really big part. My home life, like my mother loved me to death, but at the same time, she also like lived in a bubble.
Yeah.
Like she didn't want to know. Like she believed everything I said, which was like great, but also detrimental.
Sure.
And my dad, he would rather be away from the house drinking.
Was mom an enabler kind of thing? Or?
Definitely,
Oh,
definitely. She literally loved me to death. Like she. I mean, of course she cares, but I think she just kind of turned a blind eye to it, for a while. For a while she didn't too. There was a point where she was just done. She couldn't help me anymore. She stopped financially helping me. She wouldn't give me a place to stay. And I mean, thankfully that happened because without that, like I probably would have always felt I had that safety net. So I think my addiction kind of went on longer because I always had that. Like I always had a plan B. I always had that place to go to. I always had that person to call, money to get. But as my addiction got worse, the trouble I got in got worse, and finally she just got to the point where it was like I can't do it anymore. I hadn't really no place to go. So
take me back to like kind of the beginning. Like how did this progress?
Well, let's see. I grew up in Memphis. Okay, I lived there probably until like the start of the 7th grade, and then the airport in Whitehaven, they bought our house, so we were able to get out of Whitehaven, and we moved to Olive Branch, Mississippi. Okay, I graduated school at Olive Branch. Things, I don't know, probably like 15, probably 9th grade. That's when like everybody started getting cars. And I didn't have to be at home as much. Like, of course, we always had like. There was a spot back behind my neighborhood we called the thinking spot, and that's where we would go think. We'd smoke. So like weed was always prevalent. It was always a getaway. I'm not gonna call it the gateway drug, but like it was definitely the easiest thing to get.
Yeah, we won't argue about it.
Yeah, right. That's
sure.
Drugs were coming regardless. They were just a lot of parents smoked, so we could get it like that.
Sure.
But after smoking really started. Somebody introduced me to LSD like at 10th grade, and I loved it. Like I was widespread panic. I wasn't a big fan of Fish or Grateful Dead, but like you could put me in the room with some Panic and some doses, and I'm happy. Around this time in Memphis, like a rave scene had really taken off, so like all the kids in school, we would look forward to going to the raves on the weekends, and they would throw them at like putt-putt, they would throw them at like military bases. I mean, it's a playground for it, we loved it. So, and of course, like engineer that I thought I was, if all my friends are taking it, like why not I buy a lot of it, and then I'll sell it. I'll make some money, right? That's like a destructive nature that I learned real quick. That if everybody's doing it, well, then I'll just get it for a cheaper price and make some money and get my drugs for free. Like, why not? So, like, I would kind of organize field parties. We would just run off and lose our minds for a little while. I think Tool got real big at the time. We're picking mushrooms in fields, and it just it went downhill pretty quick. Well, around probably like around my junior year of school, I remember I wrecked my bicycle. Right, we used to, of course, like skateboard and ride our bikes and build little half pipes out of dirt and hurt ourselves. In other words, So one day I hurt myself, and I cracked my front two teeth. Right, so I had to go get surgery, or they pulled my two teeth, and I got a partial put in. Okay, and had hooks that existed to my existing teeth. Right, 2 years later, when you talk and your tongue hits it, that rocks. Yeah. So those wires sawed those two. What the partial was hooked to, those hooks saw those existing teeth. 2 years later, two more pulled, new piece put in. This went on like this every 2 years, right? Until like I ended up having like 8-something teeth pulled, right? Wow. So, now I'm gonna push forward a little bit because, like I said, every 2 years this went on. So once after like the third, fourth time I'm getting teeth pulled, I'm like, you know what? You can take them all out. Like, I'm done. I don't want this mouth pain. Plus, 6 years later, I'm pretty heavy in my opiate addiction. So I'm like, why not? You know what I mean? And now let me backtrack. When this first started and I broke my front two teeth, I got introduced into opiates. Like, I got a dose of hydrocodone or Percocet, something, and I love that feeling in my tummy, you know what I mean? Like, it's all warm inside. So that really started something dangerous too. I really, really enjoyed it. And in my time, 22 years ago of this, Oxycontin was big. Pretty much any type painkiller that was out there, if it was available, we found it and we dipped and dabbled it, and that went on. It went on for a while. This is well before like these 30s come out and all that. This was straight Oxycontin and straight Percocets and bars, and we just love to mix these two. Okay, this is going on pretty heavy. See, I did graduate high school, barely, but I did. When I got out of it, I think I'm around 20, 21. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but really there's nothing to tell. It's just deep addiction, The day I turned 21, like I had always like kind of drunk a little bit, but pretty much like we'd go steal some St. Ides or some Hurricane or something and just sit on the weekend and smoke blunts and drink 40s like we're supposed to do this, you know what I mean? Like our music has told us so far that this is how we get down. So right, it's a rite of passage. So I wasn't really like a big drinker, but I definitely was a big Xanax taker, right? And when I took Xanax, I knew that I didn't have to drink much, So like, pint of Crown and I'm in there, Jack, So the day I turned 21, I do remember going to Roadhouse Bar, right? And I don't remember much of this night, but I remember being at the bar because I was legal and could buy drinks, right? I remember at one point going to the bathroom, and my buddy met me in there, and he gives me like a handful of bars, and we're raging and like beating up the garbage cans and just destroying the place, just angry kids, and we left. We went back to the apartment. Something happened. He told me something that upset me about a girl we were both seeing. Like, I was aware that we were both seeing this girl, but I wasn't aware of what he told me. Some stuff got stolen, and she did it. Doesn't matter. Right. So I'm in my feelings, of course, now, and I'm like, it's probably best that I leave. Like, I shouldn't be here anymore because I don't want to do this. So I get in my car. At the time, I had a little 99 Accord, rims on it, and body kit. And when I backed into the parking spot, I backed in like diagonal, right, taking two spots, and I had my wheel cocked all the way right to show my rim off, right. I know. So when I get in the car, I don't think to cut my wheel back left before I pull out. I just get in angry and smash the gas, right. So I drive right into the back of this truck, right. Again, I don't think to put the car in reverse and drive around, so harder, right? Move that truck into the next truck. Right now, I done hit 2 parked cars. Okay, I got 5% tint on the windows. Can't nobody see in there. As I'm finally getting around these vehicles, I remember rolling the window down. There's like a group of people outside now because they want to know what's going on, right? And I just drive by them and say, shh, roll my windows up. Like, I remember this, like, certain parts of this. I remember stopping at the front of the neighborhood and thinking, like, man, my bumper's hanging off. Like, I got to pull this son of a bitch off. So I'm, like, trying to pull the bumper, and bumpers don't come off your car that easy. So either way, I get back in my car and I take off. Lo and behold, the 2 cars I hit, that was a husband and wife of the apartment complex, right? Like, thank you, So the cops get me. They're waiting on me, I got a DUI that night. Let's see. It wasn't soon after that I got another DUI. I got a couple of them pretty quick in like a 2-year span. From like 21 to 23, I spent a lot of that time getting arrested for stupid shit and DUIs. I do have another pretty dumb one I'll be glad to tell you about. Right, it's one that, like, when I talk with a friend of mine, he makes sure that I tell this to people. So like we're gonna add this to it. I had a Colorado truck, and again, I had jumped off the back of my truck and got a stone bruise. Like, I don't know what a stone bruise is. You ever heard of a stone bruise either? Your whole bottom of your foot turns purple, right? Okay. Well, in my addiction, that's great, right? I get prescribed more painkillers, right? Like, not like I needed them. I probably got a pocket full of them, right? But I'm racing to Walgreens now to get my prescription filled, and I realized I don't have my ID on me. I left it at my buddy's, right? So now I got to race back over to my buddy's to get my ID. So I'm flying across town, and where I was in Olive Branch, it's like a S curve, right? I'm flying, and I guess when my wheel kind of goes off the road in the curve, either way, I rolled my truck, right? Just I flipped it upside down, right? In my head, I'm like, well, I'm upside down in my truck. I got to get rid of everything I got on me. Like, I can't get caught with it, so I'm eating God knows what, and I black out. And I wake up on the side I'm walking down the side of the road, and I've got my ID now. I guess I'm leaving my buddies. I'm coming back up to the scene where the accident was, and the cops are there, the ambulance is there, my mother's there, a crew of people are there, and my mother's crying, and she's like, "You need to go get checked out," I'm like, well, I don't want to get on the ambulance, but you can take me, right? And at this point, I'm sure a lot of Xanax involved because I'm getting pretty out there, right? Pretty angry and violent too. So I go to the hospital. She takes me, and I'm in there just raging, cussing a storm. And this cop comes up to me and he's like, "If you keep using this kind of language, we're gonna take you to jail." Okay, so I'm ripping IVs out of my arms. I'm like, my time's done, and I walk out AMA'd, and my mom pulls up on me. And she's like, "Oh, son, you need help. Like, you need to go." I think I had been to a treatment center already in my 2 years of DUIs. I remember I went to a center just to beat a DUI. Didn't go for any other reason, So she pulls up on me and she's like, "Son, you need help. You need to go back and get treatment, And of course, like, I'm not hearing this, I just need to go get my prescription. Like, I don't need. Y'all are just messing with me right now, So she's like, "If you don't get in the car, I'm gonna leave you. Bye," So she leaves me, right? And I like hobbled to the nearest Kroger's about a half a mile down the road, and I got my cane, I got my stone bruise, I can barely walk anyways, and I'm pretty lit. So it's like about 2 a.m. I get to this Kroger, and at the time now we still had payphones, right? So I go up to the payphone and I call a buddy, and I'm like, "Man, I'm in a bad spot. I need a ride," And he's like, "Well, I got 2 flats. It's gonna be a minute." I'm like, "Okay, well, you'll see me. I'll be walking down the highway. You can't miss me, So I'm looking around, and I'm like, I'm never gonna make this walk. Like, I'm not gonna make it anymore, right? So I hop on one of these electronic shopping carts, right? And I ride that little joker across the parking lot. It's a pretty big lot, right? I make it across the lot, and I'm looking behind me, and nobody's chasing me, so I take it down the highway, right? And They move pretty slow.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty slow. I don't make it far, a couple hundred yards, and I'm talking a parade of cops come after me. Like they're loving this call, So so I got a DUI on a shopping cart, and I got grand larceny, and I got I don't know. I don't know if I had any possession or what. Actually, on my phone, I've got my mugshot photo. Yeah, it's awesome. I think I posted it on my Facebook recently, actually. But either way, so there's that one.
What were the consequences of a lot of these?
Usually, I know I had a couple SR22s I had to get, which cost a lot financially. I've in my 4-year window of drinking heavily. I think I wrecked like 6 different cars, totaled like 6 different cars. Pretty bad car wrecks. I broke my back in 4 places: my neck, my sternum, my collarbone. I split my left kneecap in half. And these are all from car wrecks and DUIs and just not caring. I've had some run-ins with the laws. Couple. I'm blessed in the sense like the one felony I did get. She got the shopping cart back, so it was dropped to a petty larceny, So like I didn't get the felony, thank God. But like, other than that, I've really been blessed in that sense. Like I've been lucky a lot.
No serious time or anything.
No,
just
county. Just county. Nothing major. Never prison. Mainly, like I've had a couple writs put on me from my family, like a writ of protection, and usually when that happens, you have to sit in the jail until like a bed opens up at a facility. So I think like the longest time I've been in was like a month. I did 40 days at 201 for another DUI. I ran over a fire a fire truck had their hose in the street putting out a fire, and I just drove right on over the fire hose. Didn't even see it. Didn't even when I'm getting pulled over. I remember having stuff in my shirt pocket, and I tried to take my stuff and throw it under the car, and a fireman ran up and was like, he threw something under the car, so got arrested for some more drugs. I think.
Was family handling this well, or were they?
They've always known that I had a drug problem.
Sure.
They were always on board to get me treatment, and for the most part, most of my centers that I went to, I lied to everybody. The people at the treatment, my family. I was always there for help.
Yeah.
And when I got out, I would fake it to a point until I couldn't fake it anymore.
Yeah.
Because with the heroin use, you can only fake it for so long. Okay. You can only have the flu every day for so many months.
Right.
Before they're something's not right. So, my mother especially loved me and always wanted the best for me. But most of my other family, they saw through it. They didn't want to talk to me. Every time we talked, it was how's your job?
Yeah.
Questions that are normal with normal people. You know what I mean? Where are you working at now? How long you been there? And I could never answer those questions because I never had jobs long. It was always I probably quit before my first paycheck. So it was definitely a rough. It's been during that time. It was always pretty rough.
So when was and I've hit multiple bottoms.
Right.
So and I never know, if somebody hit one and they got it, or
right.
Where was the low point? When did things?
Okay. Now this was probably about 15 years ago. This was around the time I quit drinking alcohol. I think I've always kind of had a couple of shots at night or something with dinner, but this is when I quit blackout drinking because I didn't think you could drink without blackout drinking. And this was the car wreck I got in. Somebody else was driving my truck this night, and we drove off the interstate. The truck rolled 7-8 times. That's when I broke my back and my neck and my sternum. The driver, I guess, thought I died, and they left me. I was found 5 hours later when traffic was on the way to work, and they saw a truck down in the ditch. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to wear a full body brace. It was a pretty rough part of my life, and I remember begging, please take this thirst away from me. I don't want to drink anymore. And I thought that was my life changing. I was well, I'm definitely gonna stop drinking, and I did. but nothing else changed. I think I probably went heavier, into my heroin use, and like I kind of had a control on it for like the next 10 or 15 years. Like I wasn't going to jail anymore. I wasn't getting DUIs anymore. I wasn't totaling cars anymore. But my life,
like a functional heroin.
right, to a degree, you know what I mean. But only because my mom was there,
Okay.
letting me stay with her. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't really much of a functioning person. You know what I mean? But like, in my sick head, I thought I could do this forever. You know what I mean? Like this is how things are gonna be. Now there got a point where I had a couple really close friends die, and that really pushed me over the edge even further. Like
From drug use?
from my like
Just life?
I wasn't from life. Like I wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. When my bad car wreck happened, I tried to kill myself, and my mother. That's when I had a rip put on me the first time. I had heard about some recovery at Whitfield, is where I went, and I heard about some recovery there. But like, I guess like the seed was planted, but I wasn't really trying to hear it. Like I still thought I knew another way.
Mm-hmm.
So I just figured like if I took the alcohol out the picture, I'd still be okay. Well, either way, that kept on for a little while, and when after a couple of my really close friends passed away, and I just stopped caring. I think I got a guy walked up to me in Memphis and tried to carjack me. He put a gun to my head, asked for the keys to my car, and I'm so on Space Mountain, like I don't even care. Like I told the kid no. You know what I mean? Gun to my head. He pistol whipped me. I still didn't give him the keys. He runs off shooting a gun. I'm on the news. It's and like I have a photo of this on my phone too, of my face bloody. Like I remember I made it back home, and I nodded out of my driveway, and they find me in the driveway the next morning covered in blood. Like what happened? What's going on? And I guess like that was it wasn't really much of an eye opening for me, but it definitely was for my mother. She was terrified. Like, what, this kid doesn't care about his life. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. Like, we keep finding him asleep in cars. He's not functioning. He's not even trying anymore. So she called her sister down, and they were like, "We're taking your keys. You can't live here. If you want help, we're on your team. If you don't, you got to go." Right? So I was like, all right, well, I thought like I had hit rock bottom at that point, right? But really, all I had was like my family pull the plug on me. So I went to a treatment in Fairland, in Clarksdale, called Fairland. I stayed there for 5 months. Got out. Was like, I won't go back to Memphis. I'm gonna go to the Delta. Great idea, right?
Yeah.
Right. I made it 3 weeks. Relapsed. Again, like I'm an IV user, so like I see this and I'm like, well, I definitely won't shoot it. Thank God I didn't. You know what I mean? Because whatever's out there is serious. I don't. The color of it was gray, and in Memphis, gray's always been associated as garbage. So I was like, this is gonna be garbage. So I put out a monster, and I do it. I ended up in Oxford. Got arrested in Oxford, of course. Once I got arrested, I got kicked out of my sober living house. I'm living in a hotel. Me and my friend who got arrested in Oxford, we come back to Cleveland that night. I had called my ex. She actually works at Haven House. And she was like, I'm glad you called. We're going to get you in Haven House. Like, you can be here tomorrow or the next day or whatever. We'll get you in. I'm like, great. That night I got arrested. Driving on the wrong side of the highway with no headlights on. Don't know where the hell I was, what I was doing. Cops tried to pull me over. I ran. Drove into a tree. Totaled my car. Now, again, like I say, my family pulled the plug on me, but I still had all of my clothes. I still had a car paid off. I still had, like, belongings, So when I got arrested this time in Cleveland, I had totaled my car. I got arrested with heroin. The cops were like, where'd you think you were going? Like, what were you doing? I was like, I'm trying to make it to Oxford. I'm going to treatment, It's like 2 a.m. I'm on the way on the wrong side of town. So either way, they had somebody from Oxford drive to Cleveland and pick me up from the hospital, okay? Brought me back to Oxford. I'm in Oxford now, and I'm still messed up. Like, I don't even remember the past 48 hours, I'm thinking my car's outside. I'm thinking, I'm knowing I just got my stimulus money, and I just want to go have one more, right? Like, I'll check in just a second, right? Either way, they're not hearing that, right? Thankfully, they didn't, because I'd have died, guaranteed. My girl, she did one of the hardest things. She had a writ put on me. She called. I got arrested on Haven House property. Uh, so I went to Oxford jail for 9 days. I had just been to Oxford jail, right? Uh, I don't remember being in there, but all the inmates remembered me, right? They're like, "We just saw you a couple days ago." I'm like, "I don't know who you are," like I don't remember this at all. I don't know what was in that stuff, man. I never in my life did I feel like that. Like it was real scary, Either way, in 9 days, I had been arrested 3 times. I had been hospitalized for overdose twice. I wrecked my car, I totaled it, and I got arrested with drugs. So I mean, in that relapse, it terrified the hell out of me. You know what I mean? Like and I think at that point, I had gone like in the jail. They brought the lawyer and whatever and did their little thing and said that I was diagnosed depressed. But I mean, who wouldn't be, right?
Yeah.
So they sent me to the state hospital, right? So I did 40 days there, and then I came to treatment here in Columbus. But when I came to treatment, all I had was the jeans that I was arrested in and the shirt I was arrested in. So, like, if I ever hit a rock bottom, this was it.
Possessions
like,
are gone.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and all my belongings are gone. No vehicle. Like, you hear people tell stories about they came with like a bag. I didn't even have that. I had the pants and the shirt. And that was it. You know what I mean? Like, nothing else.
So this one you're in Columbus.
Right. Now I'm in. So I got, when I left the state hospital, in order to leave the state hospital, somebody's got to sign for you, right? Nobody wants to sign for me. Sure. You know what I mean? So like, and I've got nowhere to go anyways, right? So of course I'm in my feelings and I'm mad because nobody will be there for me. But in order to get out, the only way I could get out was have a treatment center sign for me. So I was recommended about the place here in Columbus. So I went there and
the
Pines and Katy Hill. Yep, I went there and I mean that place was.
That's where I went.
Okay, right, yeah, it's an amazing place, man. When I talked with the lady, can I say names? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, when I talked with Miss Brenda, we talked on the phone when I was at Meridian State Hospital, and I kind of gave her a little rundown of some of my charges, especially the greatest hits, and she was like, "I got a place for you. Like, this is with your people. Like, you're gonna go right where you need to." And like her words ring true every day. Like I see people here in this community, in this recovery town that it is. It's just it's my saving grace. You know.
Shameless plug. I mean, tell us about the Pines. What was that
Oh,
like?
right, yeah. Well, coming in, I was terrified, like without a doubt. When I came in, like I've been to treatment centers before, but I'll tell you what, like when I went before, it was bullshit. Like I came in and had a slick tongue and I talked my way into things and I got away with shit. But this time I came in terrified and scared, and I didn't want to bullshit and I didn't want to lie. So I was pretty frightened, because like the reality of what's going on is taking hold. Like my family's not in my corner anymore. I've got no plan B. I've got no home to go to. I've got no money, and I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do, So when I came in, a couple guys would come in. It's actually how I met a real close friend of mine, Russell.
Yeah.
But he would come in.
Sponsor.
Right, same. But he would come in and he would do book studies and I would just listen to what he said. Man, I saw how he carried himself. He knew what he was talking about, and that was really attractive to me. So like, I started calling him and getting, listening to what he had to say. The same with being able to go to meetings. I was really that played a big part in having an idea, because like any other center I had gone to, when I got out, I felt like I was just released to the wild, and I had no idea, like no training wheels, no little legs to walk on, like it was just pushed out in the cold, like get it or don't. We'll be waiting on you when you come back. You know what I mean? But this time it wasn't like that. Like I
felt like they gave you tools to work with.
Definitely tools to work with. I mean, my counselor, Miss Elizabeth, I love Elizabeth to death. She gave me an opportunity to do a family session with my mother, which is something that like people had recommended me to do before, but I wasn't willing to do that. Like,
what was the difference this time?
I always thought that if I did this family session, like I wouldn't be able to manipulate anymore, right? Because that was like my tactic for so long. Like I was always able to like tell my mother what she wanted to hear so I could still get what I needed. And I thought that if I got brutally honest with her, she would just write me off, or I would hurt her feelings, or I would hurt her, or I didn't want her to feel like she's at blame or at fault, you know. And of course, there's things that she is at fault for, but like there's things bigger here that I'm at fault for, you know. And it really gave me a chance to like. I think the biggest thing was like I got to see the parts I play. You know, it's not I'm a victim anymore. You know, it's now like look what I've done. You know, and this is what I need to do to fix it. And a lot of that is telling people straight up what I've done and what they've done. Like for them to recognize my bad behavior, and when I start getting off again, or if I stop answering phone calls or start calling for weird amounts of money, or if you know what I mean, like I'm not working, like these are red flags that they need to look out for, and I needed that accountability, and I never had that before. When I left treatment, I went to the CCS apartments down here, and it's kind of like a sober living that they do, which I'm really grateful for it. I got drug tested randomly all the time, and there were some people that would kind of get offended when they get their drug screens, but for me it was like a badge of honor. I was like, oh yeah, let me come take it. Like this is the first time ever I can pass these things. You know what I mean? So like I really liked it. You know, I liked being involved. I would come back up there all the time, work with who I could. You know, there was just something about this community, something about that place, something about the love that's there. Like, of course, people have always. I had heard it before, like find people to love you until you can love yourself, you know. And I didn't think loving myself was ever possible. Like I've just always looked at downed myself and looked at myself in a bad sense, thinking that I couldn't. I guess people always talk about high expectations. Well, my life was just low expectations, like because I know I'm meeting those all the time. You know, I was terrified to set something high and then fail at it, because if I'm sober and I fail at it, well then I must really be no good. You know what I mean? So like I was always so scared to try it, but you know, I did small steps, man, little things, you know, just little it's dumb as it may sound, but getting up, making my bed in the morning, like I know I can do that. You know, getting up, you know, exercise. Like I got a healthy replacement. A friend of mine, we would go to the gym a lot, you know, and not only do I feel good about myself about that, like it's for me, that time of not having anything to do, right? That idle time is the devil's playground, hearing that, like that couldn't be any more truer, you know. Like
it's a healthy coping mechanism.
You're right. It's a good replacement too, as far as for my time and energy, you know. So, like, I just found just healthy things to do. I got involved with the community. I do things outside with different people and we have different programs here that I just got involved with, and you know, it's just been a real like family heartfelt environment. You know, I feel a part of.
Yeah.
You know.
Where is your family now? Like your family now?
Okay, my mother and them physically they moved. My mother moved to my sister. I got to the point where I was able, like, I did the family session with my mother, so we've kind of always stayed tight knit. But the rest of my family have been like I pushed them all the way, right? Like so like I'm slowly getting them back in my life. I'm not definitely where I want to be with them, you know, but I'm like just now getting comfortable where I want to be. So it's just a slow process, and like I hear it constantly. Like I can't expect them all to come back overnight. You know what I mean? Because this is years of me doing this to them.
Well, how much time do you have sober?
I just got my 18-month coin, maybe 19 months, something like that.
So cool.
You know, I work at the Pines now.
See?
So, right, like, I mean, I'm like with my people, you know what I mean, all day. And like, that right there brings, like, that's the biggest part of my day right now is being able to work there. Because, like, not only do I get to be around the people that I relate to more than anybody, but, like, people are always watching. People are always watching, man. Like, even if you don't think anybody's watching, trust me, people are watching. And I get to see it and feel it firsthand when people come up to me and ask me, you know, to help them with certain things or be there for them, or, you know, they want to know how I got through certain situations, you know. And it's just, you know, there's certain parts of this, like, I want to talk about, but, like, I've been told not to.
Yeah.
So, like,
fun.
You know.
Isn't it funny that, like, you come from a place of pain.
Right.
To become a person of service.
Right,
and
yeah.
Like, are you happy?
Man, I'm loving my life today. You know what I mean? Like, my life today is, man, it's so crazy because, like, what it used to be was like I couldn't wait for my day to be over. You know, like I don't know how I'm gonna survive, what I'm gonna do the next day. Like I'm terrified, and now like, man, I get up and I'm happy. You know what I mean? Like I look forward to these phone calls. Before I ducked my phone call, like my phone, like it was always going to be somebody that owes me, that I owe money to. You know what I mean? Like I'm not taking phone calls. I'm not checking voicemails. Like I'm not reading text messages.
Yeah.
And now I look forward to them. Like it's friends that are in my community that want to do healthy things. You know, that want to go out to eat. Like I have money to go eat now, which is really rare. You know, I have a car again, which is nice. We just got a house. You know, I mean, these are, and this is also something that I've never done on my own. I've always had my mother to be there. She's always had like, we just had a freezing house because we didn't know we had to get our heat cut on. Like these are things like I'm learning. You know, I'm 41 years old, like, and I have no idea what it's like. Like, my father was never in my life as far as like teaching me how to tie a tie or to, you know, be there or talk to girls or you know what I mean. Like I never changed oil. Like I didn't have a healthy home life as far as that went. You know. But I also like don't know, like I didn't know what it was like to have real friends either. You know, people I could actually count on or trust, or if I told somebody something, like I know it was gonna stick with them. You know, and now I've got that today. Like,
so now that you've moved so far forward, what's the goal now? Like, how are you gonna stay on that road?
well, I've been talking with some people up there at work. I'd like to do the peer support class and keep going with that. I don't know about like the whole like therapy part of it, but like I definitely want to look forward more into the peer support, right? Peer support specialist, and like I guess I would work small goals like before I just jump too far in it. But that's my next rung on my ladder, is I'd like to continue with this because I'm really loving the recovery aspect of this community, because like I get to stay involved and it's helping me too. Like that's something that I'm really not used to. You know, being able to help like I've always wanted to help other people, but there was always wrong motives in it. You know what I mean? I only helped you because I got something from it. You know, and I'm not saying I don't get something from it now, but I don't get anything like financially now, and that's the feeling that like I'm not used to having, which I enjoy getting. You know,
your experience and your story is extremely powerful.
Right? It's great to be able to tell certain things and know that I'm a walking miracle. You know. Because you don't meet many 40-year-old heroin addicts that are alive to tell you their story.
Or that even have 18 months of sobriety.
Like
The numbers are against those guys.
Definitely.
So if you had some advice, like say somebody is out there suffering right now, you know, and they're trying to get to whatever step they got to take to get a little bit of clarity, what would you?
Man, treatment first off, without a doubt. I mean, you've got to find a place to clear your head. But just talking with people, man. I think the biggest thing for me when I came into the centers or wherever I went is that I felt alone. Like I felt like my story was the worst and nobody could relate. But the more I talked with people, the more I saw that like I wasn't alone, and my story was bat to bat, if not lower than some of these other people have been through just as much, and they can relate and they can talk with us. And the biggest part is to see that you're not alone. Like anybody out there struggling, if you come in and you just talk with people, you'll see how we can help too. You know, we are not alone in this, and there's a way out, man. Like I was always terrified that I couldn't get out of this. I always thought that this was my life, and I honestly thought I'd be dead by now. Like I did not think I would be here. But really, just to anybody, just talk, man. Like the biggest thing we hear in Memphis all the time is closed mouths don't get fed, and the same is to be said. Like if I don't know you're hurting, I can't help you. So just open up, man. Just find somebody that you see, that you go to a meeting. You know, go to a treatment center. You know, you'll find and you'll hear your story with one of these people, and man, just sit down and talk with them. You'll be surprised on what somebody can advise you or suggest you to do that can save your life. You know.
Is there anything else that you have on the top of your head?
Oh, let's see here.
Any life-changing
Yeah, I don't know, man. I would just say get honest, man. Just stop lying. If you got something on your heart that weighs heavy, just get it off. Because if people don't know you're in pain, we can't help you. You know, and there's people out here in this recovery community that are dying to help. We love seeing people get that light cut back on and coming back to it. That's what feeds my soul. So somebody's out there struggling, man, just get honest, man. Find somebody and just do this. You know, there's people that need to. I don't know. Like, you got me speechless on it. You know what I mean?
Advice, though.
Yeah.
Well, anything else? If nothing else.
No.
Well,
That'll be it. All right. Thank you.